Solomon was a very wise king, but he also made very big mistakes. The references to him using this symbol come from the side that are against Yahweh. It is said that among the Eastern nations, King Solomon is again esteemed as a great magician who had great power over the spirit world. It was said he gained this power from Satan, who gave him a ring of power with a symbol on the ring. This symbol is known as the Seal of Solomon, and it is this hexagram. This symbol was supposedly used on Solomon's ring and gave him the power to understand and communicate with animals, and to conjure up spirits to do his bidding. This is what the Seal of Solomon is. It is not found in scripture, but spoken about through Freemasonry and the occult. But this is all that it could have to do with Israel. In fact, scripture actually speaks against this symbol. Amos chapter 5, verse 26 says, "But ye have been born the tabernacle of your Moloch, and Chayun your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves." This is the star of their God. It's a hexagram. This symbol is everywhere. It's also hidden on the US dollar bill. There was much things placed in the design of this dollar bill. That's why, as all the designs have changed in the different denominations, the $1 bill has been constant. This is not a symbol of Yahweh. This does not represent him. He does not mix with the occult and pagans. So when you are seeing this, you must understand that there is deception trapped and surrounding this symbol. This symbol was used by the converted Jews in Europe. It became a family crest or shield by the Rothschild family during the 19th century. The Rothschilds brought much of the land in Israel from the Arabs and Turks and were huge supporters of the Zionist movement. These are terms you should research on your own: Zionism and Khazars. This will help you understand who Yahshua is speaking about in Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 and chapter 3 verse 9. So after the Holocaust, the Rothschild family donated the land they owned of what was known as Palestine at the time. The United Nations then gave this land to these converted Jews so that they would have a homeland and would never have to face the kind of oppression and slaughter they had during the Holocaust. Thus, the State of Israel was created. The hexagram, also known as the Magen David, or Shield of David, or Star of David, or Seal of Solomon, was adopted as a symbol of the nation. But this again has nothing to do with Yahweh, but everything to do with Satan. With all the different pieces of symbolism tied into it, along with the use from witches and Satanists, it's obvious that this is nothing that Yahweh wants to use to represent his land. Do not be deceived by this hexagram, or Star of David, or Seal of Solomon, whatever they want to call it. It is used by witches to conjure up spirits. It is a powerful symbol for the occult. But these two symbols are just purely wicked. Though you see them everywhere, you may wonder what you're looking at. And I hope this explains enough to you that you do not use these symbols if you worship Yahweh, the one true God of Israel. Or you may be able to identify witches and cultists when you're outside in the public. They don't walk around broadcasting their belief, but they are definitely out there. If you recognize certain things and symbols, you can be aware of who you are encountering. When you see people using these symbols, you must question what you are seeing. It's either that they are heavily deceived or they are in fact a deceiver. Always understand, the more we see these symbols and the more they are generally accepted, the more we know how far we are from Yahweh and how close we are to Satan. Today we use a completely satanic symbol to try to represent Yahweh's people to the world. Well, that's what the knowledge of the world today wants us to believe. It's just like Satan to use his symbol to represent what he wants to pass off as Yahweh's chosen people. And if you understand this level of deception, it may help you understand a much bigger piece to this deception. This is not a video to explain this in depth. I just encourage you to try to understand this on your own. Like I said, go to Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 and 3 verse 9 and research Khazars and Zionists. I hope this video opened your eyes to the things you were not aware of. Your world is inundated with witchcraft and the occult. The only problem is that most of us don't know it. When you start gaining knowledge, you gain power against them preying on your ignorance. You also gain discernment so that you are not taken advantage of. We have all been deceived by these symbols. It's time that the deception stops. The square and compass. The Masonic square and compass is an easily recognized symbol of Freemasonry. Whenever you see this symbol, it is undeniably representing Freemasonry. The square is used in both Masonry and the Eastern Star. Eastern Star writer Mary Ann Slipper, in page 36 of her book, The Symbolism of the Eastern Star, she states, "When turning square corners in floorwork, it is well to remember that this is acknowledging in action the great truth of being. The square not only means the acknowledgement of that power, but also our belief in the finished work of the master builder, who someday will summon each into that great temple not made with hands, eternal in the heavens." It should be noted that the master builder that Freemasonry refers to, also known as the great architect, is Lucifer, their light bearer. The square is acknowledging his power and his coming into his work of ruler of this world. In speculative Freemasonry, the square is a symbol of morality, hence where we get the phrase, "you're being a square." It's the official emblem of the master of the lodge. The square and compass as a symbol together incorporates the yin-yang symbolism as well. The square represents the female, passive, generative principle, the earth, and the baser, sensual nature. And the compass represents the male, active, generative principle, the sun/heavens, and the higher spiritual nature. The two symbols displayed together once again represent sexual union. In Albert Mackey's Masonic Dictionary, he says, "In Masonic symbolism, the square and compasses refer to the Freemason's duty to the craft and to himself. Hence, it is properly a symbol of brotherhood, and there significantly adopted as the badge or token of the fraternity. The square and compass are just another form of the six-pointed star, also known as the Star of David. Do you see it? In the square and compass, there's often a letter G found inside of it. In the lower degrees, the Mason is told that the G stands for geometry, or God. The occultist Eliphas Levi, however, informs us that the G stands for Venus, and that Venus symbol is lingam. A lingam is a symbol of the male private part. Remember this, because we will see another prominent symbol soon that's a lingam as well. Now, I don't know if it's commonly known, but Venus is another name for Lucifer. Lucifer is the Latin name for Venus. So let's add to that understanding. What is the symbol for Venus? Yes, it's this sign. Most people just associate this as a symbol representing women, but it also represents Lucifer. Again, being that Lucifer is the Latin name for Venus. So when you understand this, you will see that at this year's Super Bowl performance, where Jennifer Lopez had the sign of Venus for the world to see and to cheer for, they were not only cheering for women, but for Venus, aka Lucifer. That's how deceptive these signs are. But let's continue. In Albert Mackey's Masonic Dictionary, he also says, the letter G, which ornaments the Master's Lodge, is not only expressive of the name of the grand architect of the universe, but also denotes the science of geometry, so necessary to artists. You see, the G refers to Lucifer, the grand architect. But there is so much hidden within this symbol. This is just the vague information that they have allowed into the public. Very simply, when you see the square and compass, just know that it is a sign for a Luciferian organization. They are bringing the light of Lucifer to the world. They feel they are doing a great work.